trust in you in
All
Unimoon.
right, we are live. Let's let's get the yeah. All right. Okay, so thank you guys for joining our AMA. This is our AMA being held on January 7th of 2022. Happy New Year, everybody. Uh, I had a really great New Year. I hope all of you guys did too. You were able to spend some time with your loved ones and family and friends. Um, but here we are in 2022, and we have a very exciting kickoff for our project. We've been steadily progressing, making some really big movements, and yeah, the end is well, the MVP release is really starting to be in sight, and we're estimating right now to be mid-March. This is where we're thinking the release of UMoon application. And UMoon is our native application, which will live on our own layer one blockchain. So our layer one blockchain would be a fork of Solana. And we're creating some custom contracts, custom smart contracts, which primarily would be the social activity coefficient. And this is going to calculate the rewards. We're going to have a reserve of rewards that is going to allow the rewards to be distributed and calculated based on the amount of engagement that is being engaged with your content. So basically, it's a measurement to understand the amount of value that you're putting on the social network. So if you put on a specific type of video, then that video will garner an X amount of interest and engagement and likes and shares, comments, downloads, and we'll be able to measure that. I'll let Karl dive into it a little bit later, but we have some very exciting things in development with our machine learning and artificial intelligence side of it. We've brought on a data scientist. He's been hard at work developing proprietary algorithms specifically for UMoon. And this is also going to be in tandem with our social activity coefficient. This is going to be our secret sauce at the heart of Unimoon. And this is essentially going to allow a more efficient way for people to realize the value of your time. I mean, everyone's time is incredibly precious. The amount of time that we take and we spend with loved ones and the things that you want to do and the things that we're passionate about, and we share this with people in social media channels. But now we have a way that people are going to get rewarded for that value that they're putting into the world. And we're just creating an outlet for that via Unimoon and UMoon application. So we are very steadily under development. We're getting much closer to finishing this up and wrapping up to a release for our MVP. And so this is very, very exciting for some of the components that we're developing. We're ahead of schedule, I would say. But you know, again, we're shooting for mid-March as of right now to be the release of UMoon and our layer one blockchain. We have also a CMO that I am about to finish the details with, and we're going to be bringing him on. We're estimating for him to start around February around February 1st. And then one of the first plans of attacks would be to garner the interest of multiple micro influencers and as well come up with a few strategic movements for us to essentially create some virality. So viral campaigns potentially that would help this project to be shared and just go on fire, just explosive fire. So that's really the focus. We really have all the really great things for a project to go incredibly viral. Maybe there is a project like this out there. I personally don't know it. I've been in this space for a very long time. And if there is a project like us, they're not at the level that we are shooting for. Hands down, there's nothing like that. Not that I know of. And same thing with Karl. You know, we talk frequently, and Karl's also research. Like, we're constantly researching, studying industry and other projects, so we can keep a pulse on what is going on in the industry. So, and if that's okay. Again, that's okay. I just personally don't know anything being done at this level, and nor do I know of anything that is really going to be able to operate at this caliber. So, you know, keep in mind, we are focusing on being able to drive this to the mass population, to be able to garner the interest of the mass population of the world, people that don't have any familiarity with cryptocurrency, and maybe they're not even that fluent in social media applications. Maybe they just bought a smartphone for the first time. This is for them. This is for everybody out there that doesn't have that much experience with technology. And, you know, the focus has always been making it as easy as possible for everyone to be able to enjoy the benefits of technology. So we are really developing an application and just sprinkling blockchain, utilizing, leveraging, you know, all the different technological tools that we have at our fingertips to be able to make something decentralized, and to be able to give people the ability to have more control of privacy, of data, to be able to value your time better. I mean, during these time holidays, it's one of the best things, you know, I think for everybody, is to just feel the importance of family. You know, it's such a good feel to share precious time with loved ones, with people that you care about most in your life. And that's really the focus of everything that we're doing, to be able to allow people a better opportunity to focus on the things that you love. So, you know, your time is valuable. Everybody's time is incredibly valuable. With Unimoon, we are possibly creating an alternative way for people to potentially sustain a lifestyle with your interests. You know, being able to take videos of that you care about, of things that mean something to you, and then being able to earn rewards, earn enough so that you could do this to cover your expenses for a living. You know, this is one of the metrics actually that Karl and I are reverse engineering to understand exactly what should the point value system be based on. So we have a lot of moving parts to this, but we are slowly dialing in and getting very specific as to how this is going to look, what it's going to function. And that is also part of that would also be the supply. So we've talked about it. We've briefly mentioned that we will most likely be changing the supply. So most likely it will be decreased. When we decrease it, it would be proportionally cut down. So if it were to go from, for example, 2 quadrillion to, for example, like 200 trillion, that would be a factor of divided by 10. So on and so forth. It would just be proportionally the way that we decide that the supply would be. It's going to be based on a reverse engineering process of what would be the right mechanics for these tokens for our coins actually in our native currency to be on this blockchain, what those rewards should be paid out, and what would be the most utility in terms of earning those rewards quantified by the SAC. So we have the supply that we're going to be refactoring. We have our products that were in mid-development. We're about to release in a few months right now, and we have some really good development for our application, UMoon. We're basically done with the full designs of it. We're just we're going to be having a few more demos of this that we're going to have to review internally, and then we'll, again, once we review the internal, we've just ensure that we have that level of quality that we're looking for, then we will gladly share this within our community. We will be having an invitation invitation process rather, or a test flight. So what that means is that we will be doing an application selection process for UMoon application, the actual UMoon application. So this has been long awaited for everybody here. And again, thank you guys so much for just being a part of this journey. Every single one of you supporting this project and holding and sharing with your friends, it's really just made a difference for making us stand out and even getting to this point. So thank you guys, and all of you guys that are taking time out of your day to join us. We appreciate you. You guys fuel us to make it better, to make it the best possible project that we can. And with that said, unfortunately, we're not going to just be able to open that test flight to everybody in the community. So we will have some criteria as to who will apply. But then within that application process, we will be selecting 20 people that will be able to go in and just go to town. You won't be able to actually earn any sort of rewards. It's going to be the most the first iteration of just a full-fledged demo that once we have that available, we'll share more of those details later. But yeah, just letting you guys know that will be coming here shortly. We will release those final details as to what sort of criteria you might have. It will be tied to roughly around how many tokens you have, the minimum, and we will have some other criteria involved. And then it'll just be an application process, and we'll just choose 20 that we believe are the most will be able to provide the most contributional value to help evaluate and give feedback and go in, play with it, and basically just be one of the first 20 people that are going to be a revolutionary application to go in and test. So that is going to be coming up very, very shortly. And I'll let Karl take the floor now. Karl, you can brush up on that talk with the AI ML stuff, and then yeah, let you take the floor.
Hey, thanks, man. So kind of segue a little bit from what Dale was talking about too. We're, the token migration, and that was one of the community questions the moderation team kind of surfaced from the community. The token migration question we've talked about kind of really lightly over the past couple months, just on and off. We'll give it more focus probably next month. And that's just where it should fall in kind of the planning. What we've discussed having different kind of even months ago we talked about more of like an invite, either an invitation modality or some kind of tiered modality where we're not just going to go big bang right away, right? That's especially it's a very bad approach to releasing kind of community-based software. right? So what you do is you get cohorts, and then you kind of leverage up basically the quantity and the volume of the usage, right? So initially it's going to be the first couple of cohorts are going to be closed, invite only. But yeah, my understanding is what we're going to want to do is reach out to the community and have the community sign up. As Dale mentioned, there's going to be some criteria as far as how, some example criteria might be how long the community member's been involved, etc. Frankly, volume of involvement in the community as well. Nice thing about public blockchains is everybody can look at everybody's wallet and see exactly, basically how large they are, how long they, what the provenance of the wallet is as well. So, not saying that that's going to be the criteria or the only criteria, but it's one option, right? What we are a community focused project, so we definitely want to, work with our community, get the feedback, and that's the whole point of this, right? Is to build a great idea. It could be world changing. It could just be an experiment. We don't know, but the idea is we build up. Dale's done a great job building up a great community. We want to get feedback from the community, right? And have the community be part of the process, right? Like they always have been, like you guys have always been. So, so we've been talking about the token migration stuff a little more. We'll probably, kind of formalize at the end of this month, early next month. From the AI and ML stuff, our data scientist has got basically Kubeflow spun up in GCP right now. He's been running some experiments through. Over the next couple of weeks, he and I will work together we've been working on data modeling kind of occasionally over this time while he's getting the infrastructure configured, the pipelines configured, etc. The next step is getting the data model implemented, and we've got kind of a draft data model right now. And the data model includes different attributes of, a user, right, of a media object, right, the different attributes. A media object, it could be audio, it could be video, its duration, its bitrate and quality, and all of the metadata. Is there manual metadata associated with it? It's analyzing all that, and then getting inference from some of the machine learning stuff on kind of the visual aspects of the media as well. So it's getting all that together, getting those attributes together, and that's the data model, right? Once you have the data model, you start pumping data into the pipeline objects, right, and training it, and those attributes of those different objects populate the model in the pipeline, and the pipeline becomes your algorithm over time, right? Now, the idea is that the pipeline's going to be a corollary to the on-chain algorithms, right? So we have a series of smart contracts that we're going to start diving. We've got some prototypes of them, but they're very rough right now. But we're going to start diving into those probably not next week, but the week after. We're going to really hit those in earnest, and those will go through March, right? But those contracts are going to work in concert with the Kubeflow pipeline that's been spun up, right? So the idea is that we're trying to, being fully decentralized out of the gate is frankly it's inefficient, right? There's a reason centralized social networks are so prevalent, right? And it's not that decentralization it's hard, it's that pure 100% decentralization is impossible right now. If you want, it just is. You cannot have a purely decentralized platform that is performant and responsive and fully featured, and all the things that provides a familiar social networking experience you cannot have if it's 100% flat and decentralized. Now, what you do is, you choose your battles in the architecture, the solution architecture. You figure out from a performance standpoint and a scalability standpoint, there are certain things that need to be centralized, right? Social media companies started out centralized very easily and then grew out and had problems with scalability that way. We're trying to find kind of a happy balance between the two, between being decentralized and highly performant, and then getting a product out in the market, et cetera. So, building stuff into centralized nature, it's hard. That's why all of these companies are as large as they are, and they still struggle with performance at times, right? A lot of these social network platforms, unless you have a hard error, like there's something catastrophically wrong, it's very rare the user will ever see an error. A lot of the failures are kind of what we call silent failures. So there may be an error updating one of your friends' profiles or seeing something off their timeline or that's been shared or that you should be able to consume. It'll just fail silent. A lot of these platforms will just fail silently, and that's okay. But it's challenging to do a lot of the social networking stuff at scale. So again, we're leveraging the centralization of some of this AI and ML stuff with some of the decentralized qualities of basically the layer one that we're going to have, right? So the UMoon chain. So Solana, even if you look at Solana's beta mainnet right now, yeah, it's decentralized, and frankly, there's a lot of arguments around there about it's not decentralized because there's kind of clusters of validators that you can make an argument that it's not decentralized. I think the reality is that blockchains that are reasonably decentralized and conversely reasonably centralized offer the best, from an application performance standpoint. So, that's the approach we're taking. We're starting. One of the main differences we have is we're going to have a very small validator count in March. It's just going to be our test net, so it's going to be 3 to 5 nodes that the community team and the project team run. But later in the year, we're definitely planning on scaling that out, and we would have to scale it out based on resource requirements and utilization, and how popular the application and the platform become too. That being said, we made the decision to use basically Kubeflow inside GCP right now, just for brevity, for being able to get to market quickly. So that pipeline's all spun up. It's still being configured. We're again on the data science front. The data models are they're not finalized. They're about 60% finalized right now. So those will be finalized by the end of the month, and we'll have some test training through the pipelines and things like that. That are related to the SAC. I think encompassing both that data modeling piece and the ML processing piece, the SAC algorithms, right? It's really not just one algorithm. It's a series of algorithms that rely on each other. Those are going to be drafted. We're going to probably start coding those next week, and those are going to go through the end of February. Again, it's a combination of the stuff going in the pipeline on the data science side, working with the smart contracts that we're going to have. So it's not just one algorithm. I mean, logically, you can think of the SAC as one algorithm, but it's really split into a couple smaller algorithms that are dependent upon each other, just like a distributed system would be. So, that for me is kind of the exciting stuff, and we're almost there, which is great. The other pieces are the NFT marketplace development's going very well. The dev team that we have assigned to that, they're doing a great job right now. I've gotten some demos of it. It's getting deployed to our test net actually as we speak while we're on this AMA right now, which is great. The other thing that we mentioned is that we, aside from just forking Solana, we refactored the Unimoon token was deployed. Those are deployed on local test machines, local test nets. We'll get that deployed to the proper hosted DevNet, probably in the next week or so. We're just cleaning up some PRs around that and some final integration testing. BlockExplorer needs a little bit of tweaking still. I try to, yeah. I want to see if I can share something with you guys, or like that I just saw this morning. They're working on it right now. But once we get the BlockExplorer, the Unimoon chain BlockExplorer up, we'll post it in the Telegram group as well, the URL. Everybody's welcome to look at it. It's a DevNet, so again, it's constantly up and down. It's getting reconfigured. Genesis blocks are being blown away and restarted and remined. So, but it's out there and it's looking good. So really happy there. I'm really happy with the progress. One thing that we do have coming up next week also is I've purposely been kind of having these different work streams going in parallel. So next week, the NFT team is going to get engaged with the UMoon app team and start the initial discussions around integration there as well. So things are, it's super busy right now from the dev side. It's going to get much busier. it's kind of controlled chaos right now, frankly, because we've got a lot of things going in parallel, and they're going to start to get integrated over the next probably 6 to 8 weeks. And it's going to be hectic, but we've got I'm pretty proud of the team's progress so far.
Yeah, all right, let's open the floor up to questions now for the community. This is more focused for as an AMA. The other ones that we have, those little short bites every Monday, those are more weekly updates. But yeah, I know you guys don't always see us together like this, so yeah, we wanted to have a recap of all the good stuff that's going on. But let's open up the floor now, and we can welcome some questions for the community to ask. So if you guys are ready, just raise your hand, and I will go ahead and choose a few questions.
Hey, Dale. A lot of us are just where we can unmute ourselves. So when you have a second, I do have a question.
Okay.
Okay. All right. I just had a quick question. And first, just wanted to say great job with everything. You guys are doing awesome. I haven't been as active in our chat room lately just because I put my money here. I know that you guys are doing your thing, and you know, it's just I step in every now and then just to check on status and things like that and see Karl's videos and everything. But I do have a quick question as far as the development funds and the marketing funds. I know the private sale and the pre-sale, a lot of the funding for the project was taken from that. It wasn't necessarily tied to the token price after launch. But my question was about, like, what I'm concerned about is possibly a really bad bear market in the short term here coming up, and Bitcoin going down pretty bad. And I was wondering, are our development funds and marketing funds, are they tied to stable coins in the event that the crypto does take a bad hit in the coming future here?
Most of it is in BNB. Most of it is in BNB. Some of it has been converted into stable coins.
Okay. All right. Yeah, because I was just that's one thing that I am concerned about is like BNB going down. Like, obviously it'll come back. It's just a matter of time. We don't know. Like, it's where we're going to be at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I've been able to organize it so that yeah, we don't have any issues though getting to NDP at all.
Okay, great. Yeah, that was my only question. I was just concerned, not worried about anything that's too much. It was just looking at the market and where we might be going for a little bit. So I appreciate you getting back to me. Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I've been in crypto since 2014, and so this would be my third cycle. You know, and if you're referencing it with the Bitcoin halving, right? So yeah, at the halving, that's when typically this bull run that people talk about is really experienced in the crypto market. So, you know, like, without getting into too many technical details, you can still look at stock to flow. There's, you know, different technical analysis indicators to show exactly if you're in a bull market or bear market. But you could, based on TA, you could still see that Bitcoin would be oversold, which would indicate that we would still technically be in a bull market, but yeah, there's market manipulation and institutional investors coming in and possibly looking to move the market, manipulate the market, and be able to create a sell-off where they can buy back in at a much lower price. And this isn't something that would be old in the industry. But I'm not too focused on that. I'm not worried so much about that. Our real value is coming from the actual development, and to really decouple from Bitcoin and crypto as a whole. That whole beauty about focusing on the consumer and the user and the application. Because once we get to the MVP, then we're not, maybe not right away, we're gonna have to build this ecosystem. But once we get the MVP out, and once we have this really full-fledged ecosystem of Unimoon, then we can be, and we will be, independent from other crypto markets and even from Bitcoin. Most currencies are, Bitcoin has always been seen as the first market mover within a bull market, within a bear market, as a really good indicator as to what's going on with the overall cryptocurrency market. I think in just the past 72 hours, it was something like almost 800 billion or 700 billion has been dropped in the market. And yeah, or 72 billion has been dropped in the market. And yeah, that's obviously a sizable amount of money, but nonetheless, yeah, our focus is developing the application, getting the application out as soon as possible. Literally, when I say as soon as possible, it is as soon as possible. But this is not something that we can just throw together and just put it out in the market. There's quality assurance. There's things that we have to make sure is functional. We have to make sure that the design is intuitive and it's beautiful, and it comes with our brand, and then it's going to work really with not only the application but with our blockchain. And then we have also the machine learning algorithm. There's a lot of different parts. We're gonna have to put it all together. So getting this out, by March, is fast. It's fast. I know everybody here thinks, everyone, like I read in the chat, I see people talking about, yeah, is this finally released yet? What's going on? Why is it taking so long? I just, we've said from the beginning, this is going to take a little bit of time, and we've been very transparent, and we've showed almost every step of the way, where we are, what's the current stage of the development, and tried to be as transparent as possible and have the weekly updates. But our focus is on developing the application, getting this out as soon as possible, and as quick to market as possible, with everything that we've said that we will deliver. So that's really a priority. And once we do that, it is my belief that very shortly after, we could see a possible decoupling from Bitcoin, because we would be potentially stepping into a completely new arena that had an unprecedented adoption for cryptocurrency, using an application, using a familiar social media application that people are used to. And so that's been the vision, that's been the goal, and we are on target to being able to do that. So that's why I believe, yeah, even if we do end up getting into a bear market, then people could potentially even see the value Unimoon even more. It creates more of an opportunity for Unimoon to shine, and we'll have marketing, we'll have influencers, we'll have much more visibility, and we'll have the actual avenues for people to be able to see this. So once the application is out, I believe that we will see a lot of differences in the market. I believe Unimoon can potentially just start soaring on its own, regardless, independently as to what else is happening in the crypto market. So yeah, I thank you for sharing that concern. But yeah, we are well funded to get to MVP without any issues.
Awesome. Thank you, Dale. I appreciate it. And Karl, thank you for the videos. They're awesome, man. I appreciate those. So I look forward to them.
Yeah, no, that's good feedback. I don't know if, I try to like temper them to make sure they're only 10 minutes. I tend to just drone on sometimes. And then I think the important thing to know is that, and it's similar in a lot of types of industries, right? Things are not a straight line, right? Some weeks are more productive than others. Frankly, there's team members that, take a holiday. People have lives, people have families too. So I think, we try to keep the ball moving forward. And I think the team's done a great job of it. I don't know, some weeks I don't think the updates are as strong as I'd like them to be, but it's just that, frankly, it's the nature of building, right? You don't build things in a straight line. You have tons of challenges, whether it's, interpersonal, with team resources or external things or logistics so I hope to just share some updates. I hope I've been able to illustrate that we're moving forward, right? I think one thing to look forward to in the weekly dev updates is probably toward the end of this month, I'll start including artifacts, right? With screenshots, little recordings of things, links to things. So that's going to be starting to come out more as well. So again, it's a process. It's not a straight line, but I think we're also trying to build a community, around the platform and the applications, right, in the network. So there's a ton of stuff, exciting stuff ahead that's possible, and I'm excited to see where things go.
All right, let's go on to our next question.
Dale, can I just speak? I think we can just unmute ourselves. So again, thank you. Again, thank you guys for your visionary leadership. I mean, if even a fraction of what you're envisioning for the future happens, it is a complete game changer. So it's good to be on the journey with you. Just a quick question about, one of the things about the attention economy of people with social media, and the fact that we've become the product in that sense, and your dream to kind of reverse that. What does that mean for the nature of the way the social media app will work? Will there be advertising, or how do you envisage that happening to prevent us again defaulting to become the one that's being kind of marketed where the product itself? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I think that advertising has become very it's everywhere. It's just a part of our lives. We see it constantly. We're not necessarily combating advertising. If you've read the light paper, you'll see actually there's a section that details about advertising, that we will actually have advertising on the platform. And so part of that advertising would actually be generating revenue for the network, for Unimoon network. The advertising that is generated on the network would then be distributed to people holding Unimoon coin. So advertisers, companies, brands, individuals, entrepreneurs would buy Unimoon, and then they would spend Unimoon on the network in order to have access to that data. That data is only accessible on the network. It's not able to be purchased specifically, you know, for an X amount of dollars. It's just to be able to initiate paid advertising on the network, to be able to use the data on the network, which would all be private. But we're not looking to combat, we're just looking to essentially reverse people being shelved as products, and get people to understand that your time is precious. And we have a way to measure your engagement and the amount of effort, the amount of contribution, the amount of value that you put onto the network, and to be able to get that evaluated, measured, and then also rewarded within the blockchain.
Okay, great. So so that would be the shift. It would be much more of a kind of enabling, or rather than a passive product, we become kind of agents in the whole thing. Is that the kind of idea?
I don't know. I would say agents. I wouldn't say agents is the right word. I would just say it's just a free. It would just be more of a free economy, a truly free economy that allows you to really be rewarded for the amount of contribution that you provide to your social network and to the world. I mean, we are all a part of a social network together, and by providing value, content, videos, you would be rewarded. And so it's really just being able to measure that contribution, measure the value of what you provide in human engagements.
Okay. Thank you, Dale.
Sure.
That's helpful. Helpful clarification. Thank you,
Yeah.
the guys and the team. Good to be with you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it looks like you guys can just jump right in. So next person, just go ahead and jump in. All right, I don't know, maybe you can't mute. You can raise your hand as well, and I can unmute you if you are having issues unmuting yourself.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah. You guys are doing really good.
Thank you.
You've been so transparent, and you've carried the team along with you every step of the way, and I really say kudos to that. What I want to ask is, it may sound dumb, but I want to know, as an investor, okay, or holder of Unimoon,
Yeah.
what should I be looking at when you talk of short term? Okay. And then when you talk of long term, what should I be looking at?
Can you be more specific? What do you mean?
I mean, timing, the timing.
Timing for
As an investor, to make returns, or to see returns, or see my holdings making money, or making yeah, in simple words, making dividends or making money. When you talk of short term,
there is no dividends. There is no dividends. We are providing utility first and foremost, providing utility, and we cannot comment on price. We're only focusing on utility. So we cannot comment on any speculation about price. We're only focusing on utility, and I'm glad you asked that because this goes on YouTube, and that's a very good clarification. Karl and I are focusing on the development of utility. This coin has the ecosystem, the usage of Unimoon. It is all based on utility. So
Great.
by advertising, that will be available after we launch the blockchain, after our MVP is available on the blockchain, which will be we've estimated to be around mid-March. And so you'll be able to have that utility and those functions, you know, potentially in mid-March when the application is downloadable. We haven't really touched too much upon exactly how the advertising is going to all take in place, but that is an essential piece of the utility of the ecosystem. So of course that will be developed very, very shortly. But yeah, everything is going to be, it's everything around Unimoon, it's all focused on utility. We don't offer dividends, we don't do anything like that. We only focus on utility.
Great. Perhaps I didn't put it right then. I'm speaking of like the time span when you talk of short term. Okay, when do we say we have achieved our goal, our short term goal? Okay, and then when we talk of long term, when will you say, okay, we have finally arrived at the point we want to?
Yeah. Okay. In terms of that, I would say getting to the point where we have initiated a completely decentralized autonomous organization. That would be the point at which I would deem a soft success, because then the power would really be in the hands of everyone using it.
Sure.
Yeah. And
now, and the time frame given to that, what's the estimated time to achieve that point?
I think it could be about a year.
Okay. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Fair enough.
But
fair enough.
I can't estimate that accurately, because we have to get to the MVP, and then, you know, we need testing. It might be faster. It might be slower. There might be problems with you know, getting people to download or getting people to use. I don't know. I can't really estimate like that. But I think, you know, within 1 or 2 years, definitely we would see the DAO implemented. I would like to see it implemented within a year. But right now, the main goal is to get to the MVP. MVP is for mid-March, and then let's see how that launch goes. You know, we're very excited to get this out. We've just really been keeping our heads down, focused on the design, on the development, and now we're you know, really starting to put it all together and try to finesse it and coordinate it properly with a really strong marketing push, because I think we're just right around the corner for March to be here, and then we'll actually be able to have this in our fingertips.
Okay. Thanks. Kel, do you have something else to add? Big man Kel, do you have something else to add?
I'm sorry, was that to me? No, I think if you're asking about timing, look at the roadmap, right? And, you know, we've got a lot of, frankly, internal stress and pressure and urgency around meeting the roadmap, right? And I think, you know, one thing that everybody talks about internally is consistency, right? And we're really pushing hard to meet those roadmap points, right? And you know, and I think it's very reasonable. I think it's also important to note in the short term, MVP is minimum viable product, right? So it's not meant to, even though we're architecting it for to eventually scale out to tens of millions or hundreds of millions of users. Out of the gate, it's not, it's not meant to onboard 1 billion users by, March, by the end of March. Software doesn't work that way, right? You build things iteratively, you scale up iteratively, you make smart design decisions. So that process still has to occur, that body of work still has to occur, but it's easier to do, right? That's the idea, that when you make smart decisions earlier on, right? I think, short term, that MVP functionality is critical. That's what we're really focused on right now. Because once we get MVP out there, in the longer term, there's operational overhead with MVP, right? Even once it's out in market, there's operational considerations, along with the roadmap and implementing new features and adding new functionality and integrations. On the roadmap, you'll see kind of medium term or bridges to other mainnets, right? That's something that we're starting to talk about a little more, is how do you integrate with, how do we want to integrate? What's our preferred method of integration between these other ecosystems? Ethereum's mainnet, Solana's mainnet, right? Maybe Bitcoin's mainnet someday. I don't know, right? So we're starting to have some more of these discussions. We recognize we don't want to be a closed ecosystem. The community's open. We want the ecosystem to be open as well. So, self-sovereignty is very important, but that also means portability, right? One concept I'm really latching on to is this idea of taking your graph with you, right? So taking your social graph with you and making it portable, right? So if you want to get out of a Twitter or Facebook or whatever, being able to take your holistic footprint and forklift it over somewhere else, right? There's challenges to doing that. We want to make it as easy as possible for users to do that. One of the things I saw recently is an app called Getter. It's a Twitter kind of competitor that's recently kind of come to a little bit of provenance. But what they do is if you're a popular account over in Twitter, you already really have an account waiting for you over at Getter. And they also, while they may not take your entire network with you, they'll take your follower account with you, right? So there's some migration that's been automatically done there. So, probably in February, March, we'll start exploring that a little more. But those are kind of like medium to longer term things that we want to do. We want to make it easy for people to get onboarded, right? And to bring their graph with them. I think longer term, there's, we're getting into kind of long-term roadmap stuff, right? It's been so focused on the short term. But long term, it's really flattening the network out, right? We don't want to be kind of single points of failure for the network, right? Which means the infrastructure, the validators, we need to scale them out. That's long-term stuff. But all of these kind of architecture and design conversations on how these concepts work, right? We can't really dive into those details until MVP is done, right? So everybody's really focused on MVP, getting that out the door. And then once that's out the door, then we can kind of bifurcate the attention a bit, right? So making sure MVP keeps running smoothly, and then these other kind of large ideas, right? We can start iterating and layering on and giving more attention to. That's long-term what we hope to do is let's get all the short-term commits done, right? And then long-term, we'll kind of have a little space and room to really dive into some of these larger concepts. Things like having a truly distributed network, or even a 90% distributed network. People talk about Nakamoto coefficients and different measures of decentralization. We're gonna be really poor right away, right? Because we're gonna be pretty centralized, right? And the goal will be to decentralize that over the long term, and that's a big deal. That's not trivial.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much for the clarity. I appreciate you guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
All right. Okay, I guess that wraps it up then. Doesn't look like we have any additional questions. So Thank you guys for joining us today for our AMA on January 7th, the 1st of 2022. We are very excited about this new year, and we are just literally right around the corner for being able to finish this and delivering our MVP, UMoon and Unimoon, to the world. So we're incredibly excited about this. You know, everyone that's been here, I see just scrolling down. Thank you guys. It means a lot. It really does. Seeing you guys here, just joining us for this journey, because it's, you know, we've had some ups and downs, and we're incredibly excited though. I mean, I'm very excited. I feel very grateful to be able to do something like this, and I don't take that very lightly, because I think that you know, at this point we have you know, I feel a level of commitment and dedication and obligation to deliver a level of quality that could really disrupt and change the way that we use the internet. So yeah, I'm very excited about this. Thank you guys again for joining us, everybody here, taking time out of your busy day to come and ask us questions and listen to our update for our project. Are we gonna have an update on Monday, Karl?
It's possible. If we do, I'll schedule one. I'll, just for consistency, I might schedule it.
Okay.
I'm kind of over everything now, but
yeah, just because it's so close to it. But yeah, if you guys see a schedule, normally Karl schedules that 1 or 2 days in advance. So thank you guys again for joining us. Enjoy your Friday, first Friday of the new year, right?
yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys again. I'm gonna end this call now. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.